Hello, thank you for staying when it's so hot in here and beautiful outside. So I'm going to talk about the Pembrokeshire demonstration zone. The lease for the demonstration zone is owned by Wave Hub. So I'll just give you a little bit of information on Wave Hub first. The company was established in 2012 and the aims are to progress technology development through testing of devices, also drive research and innovation and foster local industry development as well. So the Pembrokeshire demonstration zone, the purpose of it is to provide benefits to the industry through the proving of devices at array scale. So the intention is to be able to deploy around 30 megawatts of wave arrays within the zone and three different 30 megawatts, so 90 megawatts in total of wave. You then have the ability to demonstrate these pre-commercial arrays for extended lengths of time to demonstrate operational performance, provide operation and maintenance experience and procedures. You then have demonstration experience that you can take to investors to go on to the next larger scale project. So this is the down the line project within the Pembroke Dock Marine project as a whole. It allows wave developers to share infrastructure, share cost and de-risk projects. We will be consenting the infrastructure and providing pre-consent for anticipated ranges of devices. So the developer then doesn't have to go through the consent, finding a site, consenting, getting the money for the site. That's all done in advance, and there's leased areas for devices to get deployed into. So the anticipation is that it would be unlocking investment for wave devices. We've been working over the past year on the feasibility study, which is a technical and commercial feasibility study for the demonstration zone. This work's been undertaken by Black & Veatch, in association with More Lice and Royal Haskoning, and has been funded by WEFO and the Welsh Government, so we're very grateful for that funding. On the technical feasibility side, the project has spoken to developers to find out what their requirements are for the zone to ensure that we design the infrastructure to their needs and plan and consent for the needs of developers. Collecting information on the zone, whatever available information there is on the wave resource, wind resource, depth of the zone, etc. Undertaking some infrastructure design for the zone and what the best infrastructure is to put in place for developers. That then leads to being able to develop a project envelope for us to get consent. A grid application has been prepared as well, and we have an understanding that there's a good level of grid capacity for connection. And programme and costing work was done as well. Through the work, we had a review of the location of the zone and have moved it slightly to avoid a MOD designation in the waters that it was overlapping at the time. And that move has now been agreed in principle with Crown Estate. Commercial viability work looked at funding for the next steps of the project, undertook a financial viability study which led to business optioneering as to how to best develop the project to have a project that can go on and fund itself going forward. And there was a SocioEconomic Study undertaken to look at the income and jobs from a fully deployed project. So we have the majority of results from the work now. We're just waiting for a scoping response from the environmental bodies, which will starts the planning process, and some additional grid costing work, and then the project will be completed in the middle of this year. So the technical results of the work, I said there's plenty of grid capacity, and we're looking to connect at least, there's at least 180 megawatts available, and 180 megawatts is the size that we're looking at. There's 90 kilometres squared available leased area, which there's plenty of space for the deployment of devices and for the capacity of devices that we're looking at. The site conditions are appropriate for wave devices, and wind conditions are also appropriate for floating wind, which was another element of that the study looked at. And so the conclusion was it is a good site for an array scale demonstration zone. In terms of the commercial results, the recommendation was that we combine a wave device deployment in the zone with floating wind device deployment to get the best financial viability for the project. So the recommendation is that we would have an area for 3 times 30 megawatts of wave devices plus 90 megawatts of floating wind. The benefits of combining floating wind with the wave element of the project is floating wind is a more developed technology. There's more operational experience for offshore wind itself, so broadens access to finance. It also, some of the infrastructure would be anticipated to be built first for the floating wind, and then shared infrastructure taken up by wave devices. So it enables the project to go ahead with perhaps one wave developer as they're ready, and then others be added as well. And also sequential deployment of wave devices, so maybe not 30 megawatts in one hit. It gets progressively added. Hopefully you can see that okay. This is just an example design option. We have a cable running south to the Pembrokeshire demonstration zone area, which is the new zone area that we identified as a result of the feasibility study. In this, we're looking to connect to Pembroke Power Station and have a 132 kV substation there, and then 266 kV cables going across land and then offshore. And then the cables would split to a wind area and a wave area within the zone. So the development programme, the next steps are to get consent and to undertake some further design work for the project. We're currently looking for funding for the next stage of the project, and then we'll be undertaking environmental surveys, which we're expecting to take 1 to 2 years for the surveys required, and then preparation of the consenting documents and environmental impact assessment. So we would be looking to put in an application for the consents and licenses towards the end of 2021. Would be in the planning process in 2022 with a decision towards the end of 2022. So it's a few years off. It's quite a long process going through the consenting process. But we would be, I think, the earliest date for operational date for the infrastructure in the zone would be 2024. So these are the results of the SocioEconomic Study. These are figures for the zone fully deployed with floating wind and of 90 megawatts and 90 megawatts of wave devices. It also takes into account the not only the direct benefits, but the indirect benefits of the work. And this gives values of up to 250 million of GVA for construction and 150 million for operation. And then in terms of full-time equivalent jobs, you have up to over 3,000 for construction and then 135 for operation. So it's a big project and large benefits to the area with full deployment. And that's it. Thank you very much.